So, what are the most important things you need to be focused in on right now on your relationships? What do you need to focus in on your relationships right now? If you could think of the two things, the top two things that you can focus in on right now on your relationships that could make your relationships a world of a difference, a world better, even a galaxy better, a completely different universe better, what would those two things be? I'll provide that for you right now. The number one thing is the recognition. This is the most important thing, it's the most significant thing, and if you can really get this, if you can truly get this, all of your relationships, whether it's sexual or non-sexual, whether it's professional or non-professional, all of your relationships will become better. What is it? The number one thing is the recognition that every individual is an individual, that they have very specific desires, moral codes, wants, likes, ethical codes, boundaries, what they like, what they don't like. And I'll give you some ways that you can practice this into your relationship. How can you apply this? You're probably asking. Well, the philosophy thing is really good. The way to think about it is really good. The ethics about it is really good. But Ron, how do I apply it into my relationship? And that's what I'm going to provide you in a few minutes. But first, you have to recognize what a relationship is. So, number one thing, what is a relationship? A relationship, this is the number one thing. You recognize that they're individuals and that they're going to be into their own things and their own wants and likes and desires, that they will have their own ethical codes and moral codes that you can never expect from them. What you believe is your ethical code and your moral code. You can never project onto them those things. Even if you grew up in the same community, even if you grew up in the same family, you will have different ethical codes and moral codes. You can test it for yourself if you have a brother, if you have any sibling or cousin or relatives. You're in the same family, you grew up in the same community, you've been together all through your childhood, yet despite that, you believe some beliefs that you have are radically different. So going back, the most important thing is you recognize what is a relationship. And this is the most important thing. This is the reason why we have great relationships university. A relationship is how you interact and interface with someone or something. My relationship with my cat, Thorby, is that she's my cat. And that needed to be explicit since she can't learn language. I can communicate with her using words. It doesn't need to be explicit, but my relationship with her, wordlessly, is that she is my cat, and perhaps I am her master, and perhaps she is my pet. And that is our relationship. My relationship to you is that you are my audience, and I am the presenter of an information. I am the educator, perhaps. Some of you watching this, I have a more intimate relationship with. That is our relationship. My relationship to this earth is that I am its inhabitant and it is my planet. Or rather, it inhabits me. It facilitates a space for me, whether it's conscious of it or not, for me to exist. That is our relationship. My relationship with gravity is that it exists and I exist. My relationship with this camera is that it is my object, which I use to convey communication with over the internet, to record, and that is our relationship. So what does that tell you? What does that teach you? And how can that better your relationship? How that betters your relationship is that you recognize, you finally become enlightened to recognize, and will set off the behaviors from the recognition that each person is an individual, and that for you to have great relationships with them, you have to recognize that they're an individual, and that how you interact and interface, you build your relationship from that. You build your relationship based off the notion that they're completely different, and that our relationship is not necessarily monogamy, not necessarily boyfriend-girlfriend. Our relationship is that how you interact and interface with them based on what they like, want, desire, their ethical codes, their moral codes, their boundaries, what things they'll engage in, what things they're happy to engage in, what things they're good at, what things they're not good at. And here's the important bit. Your recognition of what you're good at, there are only 3 things which I'm good at. There are things that I'm really, really good at, and I'm really good at them. There are things that I'm good enough, and there are things that I'm no damn good. And so I recognize this about myself. I know this, and so I'm able to communicate it to others. And there are things that I will engage in, there are things that I will not tolerate. And each person is different. I'll give you an example. A lot of people like to just lollygag around when they wake up. Sometimes they like to be romantic. Sometimes they like to have breakfast with their beloved. For myself, if you were to sleep with me and wake up with me, I like to be productive in the morning. I like to produce. I like to get my calories in. I like to get my protein in, and I like to get to producing. That is me. I'm not like other people, and other people are not like me. They're going to be into their particular things. And so when you're interacting with me and interfacing with me in the morning, you're not going to get much communication from me because I'm going to be in the mindset of production. But everyone's entirely different. And the beauty of a relationship, the beauty of the style of relationship I have, open relationships, is that I insist you pursue other people who are into the same things you are, because we're not going to align on many things. There are a few things that we will align, and those are fantastic. That's why we're in a fantastic relationship. And so remember, whether it's sexual or a non-sexual relationship, each individual whom you're in a relationship with, a colleague, a professional relationship, a professional partnership, a business partnership, their business, their entity, remember, a business is just merely has people in it. The people are the business. The business entity is made up of a person. There's no such thing as a live entity, a live business entity. There's no such thing as a conscious LLC. It's just a group of conscious minds putting together what is a protocol for that LLC, that limited liability, that company, or the S Corp or the C Corp, or whatever the case is. They're made up of people, and you have relationships with people. So that's number one thing. A relationship is how you interact and interface with people, and you base that relationship, you build that relationship based on what they like, desire, they want, what are their boundaries, and what are they're willing to engage in, what they're not willing to engage in, and you build your relationship from that. Number 2 thing, and this will be very quick, is that your most important relationship is your relationship with yourself. No one can like you or love you unless you like you and you love you. You have a particular limitation in your psychology. What is that limitation? The limitation in your psychology when it comes to love, like, and desire is that no one can like you to the limit in which you love yourself. Because when they love you more than you love yourself, when people provide you more love or more adoration or respect than you love and adore and respect yourself, you will see it as too much, you will short circuit, and you will do something called sabotage. You will unconsciously sabotage that relationship. You will unconsciously do things so that you say to yourself, this is too good to be what? It's too good to be true. No one could possibly love me that much. No one can possibly like me that much. This is impossible. This can't be true. This can't be real. Some of you perhaps leave that person because they're way too much. They're giving you way too much love, adoration, or admiration. And so the most important relationship that you have is your relationship with yourself. Like, love, honor, and respect yourself. And how you do that is you take accountability about yourself and see for yourself what things you really, really like about yourself. Perhaps you could write this down. Write down what you like about yourself. Write down what you really, really love about yourself. And then take account, what are the things about me that I would really like to get rid of? Or what are the things about me that I will not tolerate in a friend? Get rid of those. Either you bullshit a lot, either you tell a lot of lies, either you're really off-putting because of your insecurity. Get rid of those things if they're deal breakers for you in a friend. You don't have to be perfect. Remember, your friends are not perfect, but they're good enough to be friends. And so cut yourself some slack. Say, what are things that I cannot tolerate in a friend? But giving yourself the slack that you don't need to be perfect. That there are friends, you can have friends which are just good enough and there are particular values in them that you really like to be around. Those are the things that you want for yourself. Would you be your best friend? That is the most important question. If you were to say, fuck yeah, I would love to meet someone just like me and I could be their friend. I would love for them to be my best friend. That's the point. When you recognize, you will radiate to other people your likability, your attractability. And I'll go further into that on different videos. Now remember, if you want more information on this, go to greatrelationshipsu.com, the letter u.com. See an ambassador of Great Relationships University because they will be able to help you out, answer your questions, and click their link if they're sharing this video because they're an affiliate of Great Relationships University, and they will be able to guide you through the whole process and sponsor you into Great Relationships University. There's nothing better than that. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and please share this with other people so they can become enlightened as well as you are. I'll talk to you on a different video. Bye-bye.